Hey everyone, it's Kelly. Thanks for joining me. I'm back today with a new 12 by 12 scrapbook process video, and this video is actually for Pretty Little Studio. I was a guest designer for them during the months of April and May, and this is the first project that I created for them. So this was actually made at the very beginning of April, and I made 8 projects during my guest design team term, but I only recorded 7 process videos, so I have 7 videos that will be coming. They're just waiting for voiceovers. So I'm getting the first one out today, which is this layout here. So during the 2 months that I guest designed for Pretty Little Studio, I used the XOXO Collection designed by Hello Heather, and I do have an unboxing of that collection on my channel, which I'll link to in the description box below if you'd like to check out all the products that I received. I will also have a link to Pretty Little Studio and the entire XOXO collection in the description box below, and I'll also have specific links to the products that I use on this layout on my blog. So if you'd like specific links for the specific items that I use today, head there. I have a wide format printer at home, so I was able to print my journaling on the very right hand side of this white cardstock background that I'm using. And I didn't want the journaling to be the forefront. I wanted it to be hidden. This layout is going to be all about me turning 34, and it's a couple selfies that I have taken of myself. And this is actually only the second time that I have taken a true selfie. I take selfies with other people in the photo with me, which those aren't technically selfies. I think those are technically called ussies, but I'm just not a selfie taker, and I don't think there's anything wrong with taking selfies. It's just never something I've been overly comfortable with. But I was turning 34 and we were going out to dinner, and my husband ran back inside the house when I was sitting out in the car because I couldn't remember if I turned my flat iron off, which is a problem for me. I am always second guessing on whether or not I turned it off, and it has a automatic off switch on it, but I still get paranoid about leaving it on. But he ran back in the house and I was sitting in the car, and I had planned on taking a picture of the two of us together, but I thought I'll just snap a couple pictures of myself, and I wasn't even sure what I was going to do with them. I did not put them on any type of social media. I didn't post them on Instagram or anything like that. But when I got to thinking about turning 34, I had some goals and some ideas on things that I'd like to do this year, and I thought this would be a good thing to document. So I didn't want the journaling to be the forefront, and I don't care if anyone sees it. It's not that it's private or that I really wanted to make sure it was hidden. I just didn't want it to be something that took from the design of the layout. So if you're not familiar with Pretty Little Studio products, the largest size of paper that they offer is 8 by 8. So I needed to come up with a way to cover up that journaling without having a full sheet of 12 by 12 pattern paper. So I took one of the pattern papers, and then I took another paper that is the same design but in vellum, and I just created a flap on the side of the layout. So I used a bone folder to make the score line in it so it would be easier to fold, and then I just used my sewing machine to stitch down the side to hold it in place. And if you're a fan of hidden journaling, I highly recommend that you check out Corey Jones. She has a YouTube channel and she does amazing things with hidden journaling. It's really inspiring, so I really recommend that you check her out. So this is going to be the overall design. I am going to use 2 photos. They're the same exact photo. I printed one in color and one in black and white. And when I did that, I wasn't originally planning on using both of the photos on this layout. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to use a black and white photo or if I wanted to use a color photo. But when I was playing with the pictures and the papers and trying to figure out what products I wanted to use, I really liked how the 2 photos looked put together. So I decided to go ahead and just use them both. Now the florals that are included in this collection are absolutely gorgeous. I wish that I would have about 10 packs of these. I went through them pretty quickly, and I wish that I had more. I ended up fussy cutting some towards the end out of some of the pattern papers because I just absolutely adore them. They're whimsical and fun, and the colors are just absolutely stunning. The title is going to be 34 because, as I mentioned, this is all about me turning 34, and I cut that from one of the pattern papers included in the collection, and I just used a font that was part of my Cricut. I just searched for free fonts that were already uploaded into Cricut Design Space, and this happened to be one, and I liked how the numbers looked together, especially when I overlapped them. So now I'm trying to figure out what to do about this white cardstock background. I felt like it was just too stark white and there was so much going on the right hand side of the layout with all the papers and the photos. And I wanted to add a little bit of color to the background just to kind of help spread things across the page without having to embellish all the way across the page. So I mixed together some paints to create a light blue, and I'm just going to add a wash of paint over the white cardstock just to take away from that starkness and to also add a little bit of texture with that dry brush. It left some really neat strokes on the background, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. And my embellishments are pretty minimal on this first project because I was a little leery on how much I should use in the beginning because I did have 8 projects I needed to create and I didn't want to go too heavy on my first few projects and then really be struggling towards the end and trying to find things to use. And I didn't need to. I ended up having way more than enough to create all 8 projects, but I just wanted to be a little bit cautious in the beginning. So I only add a few florals. I do add that tab index card behind my photos to use as a tab, so that way it's easier to lift that flap so you can read the journaling underneath. But I really am very, very minimal with embellishing on this layout. So now I'm going to start working on adhering things down, and I do need to be cautious about where I'm adding the adhesive because if I add adhesive to the wrong part of the layout, I'm going to adhere everything together and then that flap will not open and you won't be able to read the journaling underneath. Now once I get everything adhered down, I don't really add too much more to the layout. I do add a few blue hearts, which you can see here, and I just liked the pop of blue. It went along with the blue that I had in the background, so I thought it was a good match and a nice additional color to bring in, especially with that flare button that I have added on the layout. I also thought about adding in some tiny word phrase stickers, but I end up deciding against it. I tried them in a couple different spots on the layout, but ultimately decided that I don't need them there, and I didn't really like how they looked. I just didn't feel like it went with the flow that I had going on with the design. So here you can get a better idea of how that's going to flap open now that I have a majority of the embellishing on the layout. And as I was looking at this, I was really debating on whether or not I should add anything to the left-hand side of the layout, if I should maybe add a couple papers or just something to create some type of border over there. But I ended up deciding not to add anything, and I'm glad that I didn't put anything over there. I like it the way that it looks here, but I just really felt like it was missing something, that it just needed something more. So you're going to see me go through a couple things. Again, I'm trying those tiny phrase stickers to see if I can get one of those to work. I kind of look at the sequins to see if maybe I want to add some sequins, but the color was just a little too dark on those flower sequins, but those flower sequins are gorgeous. They're one of my favorite things that was included in this collection. Now I do end up adding a couple things off camera because I really thought that this was how the layout was going to end, but when I came back to it, I left it sitting on my desk and I came back to it to take some pictures of it, and it just really felt unfinished. So I end up adding another row of stitching down the right hand side of the layout, but it's actually right next to those pattern papers. So it's just something to add a little bit of texture. And then I did add a couple more of those floral die cuts just kind of tucked underneath the vellum. I thought that way it would really give an indication that there might be something underneath that vellum and that you should go ahead and flip it open and read what's underneath. So here are a few still shots. I do have more still shots on my blog, and again, I do have the specific products linked in my blog post also, so if you'd like to head over and check that out, I highly encourage you to. And I also encourage you to check out Pretty Little Studio and also check out the XOXO collection. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I am so, so thankful that I had the opportunity to play with this beautiful collection. I will be back again soon with a new layout and process video. As always, thank you so, so much for watching.